The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, lived 1400 years ago. He had no access to sleep laboratories, no MRI machines, no neuroscience research, no studies on circadian rhythms, or spinal dot alignment or the relationship between the right side of the body and cardiac function. He had none of that. And yet what he taught his companions about how to prepare for sleep and how to lie down, the specific steps, the specific position, the specific act to perform before closing your eyes, has been confirmed by modern science with a precision that makes you stop and ask how. How did a man 1400 years ago know this with enough certainty to teach it as a practice for every Muslim until the end of time? The answer is the answer it has always been. He did not figure it out. He was taught. And what he was taught was not just spiritually significant. It was physiologically accurate. And most Muslims who follow him have never once applied this specific teaching to their actual nights. Welcome to Gentle Ustaz. Subscribe and turn on the bell. Let us get into this. I want to tell you about a woman who had not slept properly in months. And I want to tell you what she tried before she found the one thing that actually worked. Because the thing that worked was not a supplement or a sleep app or a new mattress. And when I tell you what it was, I want you to think about how many nights you have been sleeping without it. She described it the way most people describe sleep problems, vaguely at first, then with more specificity when she realized someone was actually listening. She said she would lie down exhausted and then spend an hour unable to switch off. Her mind would go to the next day, to the unfinished things, to the conversation she had replayed 17 times already. She would eventually fall asleep sometime after midnight and wake up at 6 feeling like she had not slept at all. This had been her life for most of her adult years. She had normalized it the way you normalize chronic things, by adjusting your expectations of what rest is supposed to feel like. She had tried the obvious things. No phone before bed. Chamomile tea. Keeping the room cooler. White noise. Some of these helped slightly. None of them fixed it. And what frustrated her most was not the sleeplessness itself but the particular quality of waking up in the morning feeling spiritually flat. Like she had gone through the night without being restored. Like something that was supposed to happen during sleep had not happened. She mentioned this to an older woman in her community, not looking for Islamic advice specifically, just talking. And the woman asked her something she was not expecting. She asked, "Do you make your purification before you sleep?" And she said, "I do not. I shower in the morning." And the woman said, "The Prophet instructed us to purify ourselves before bed, the way we purify for prayer. And then to lie on our right side. And to say specific words before closing our eyes." She had heard of sleeping on the right side. She had never connected it to anything more than a general Sunnah practice she was aware of but had not prioritized. She had never done the purification before bed consistently. She had never put the whole practice together as a complete system. She decided to try it that night. Not as an experiment. As a genuine act of following something she had been taught and had not implemented. She made her purification before sleeping, the same way she would prepare for prayer. She got into bed and she lay on her right side. She said the supplications she had looked up that afternoon. And she closed her eyes. She did not fall asleep in 30 seconds. This is not that kind of story. But something was different about the quality of the night. She noticed it when she woke up. Not that she had slept more hours. But that the hours felt different. More complete. Like the sleep had done something it had not been doing before. She kept the practice for a week. And by the end of the week, the hour of lying awake had shrunk to minutes. The morning flatness had lifted. And what struck her most was not the practical improvement, though that was real and significant. It was the realization that she had been given this instruction her whole life. It was in the books she had read. It was part of the faith she practiced. And she had never once put it into practice as a complete system because nobody had ever explained why it mattered and what each part was actually doing. The Prophet's instruction about sleep is one of the most complete practical teachings he left. And it has 3 parts that work together as a system. Most Muslims know one of them. Very few practice all 3 consistently. The first part, purification before sleep. The Prophet said, "When you go to bed, perform purification as you do for prayer." This is not simply a hygiene instruction. Purification in Islam is a state, a condition of the body and the intention that prepares a person for worship. Going to sleep in a state of purification means entering the night in the same condition you enter prayer. It means the last physical act of your day is an act of preparation and surrender, the same act that prepares you to stand before Allah. The scholars have noted that a person who sleeps in a state of purification has their soul received in a specific way during sleep that is different from one who does not. The night becomes an extension of worship rather than a break from it. Modern research has found that washing hands, face, and feet before sleep significantly reduces physiological arousal, the state of alertness and tension that keeps the mind from settling. The warm water on the skin signals the nervous system to begin its descent toward rest. The repeated structured actions of purification create a ritual that the brain learns to associate with sleep, a consistent pre-sleep routine that is one of the most evidence-based recommendations in sleep medicine. The Prophet established this as a daily practice 1400 years before sleep medicine existed as a field. The second part, sleeping on the right side. The Prophet consistently slept on his right side. And what modern science has discovered about this position is remarkable. The heart is positioned slightly to the left in the chest. When a person lies on their right side, the heart is elevated relative to the rest of the circulatory system, which reduces the workload on it during sleep. The lymphatic system, which processes waste from the brain during sleep, drains more efficiently from the right side position. The digestive system, which follows a natural clockwise pattern, is aided by right side sleeping. And for people who experience reflux or disrupted digestion, which is very common among people with poor sleep, sleeping on the right side has been shown to reduce symptoms significantly. The Prophet chose this position not because he had access to cardiac research. He chose it because he was taught by the one who designed the cardiac system. The third part, the supplications before sleep. The Prophet taught specific words to say before closing the eyes. Words that place the soul in the care of Allah for the hours of the night when the person has no control over what happens to them. The scholars describe sleep as the minor death. The soul is taken during sleep and returned each morning. The supplications before sleep are an act of conscious surrender. Of saying, "I am placing myself in your care. Whatever happens to me tonight is in your hands." And that surrender, that genuine release of control, is what allows the mind to stop cycling through what it cannot resolve and simply rest. Research on what happens cognitively when a person practices genuine surrender before sleep, when they actively release the things they cannot control, consistently shows reduced cortisol levels, reduced physiological arousal and faster sleep onset. The Prophet built this into a nightly practice so that every Muslim could access this release every single night of their lives. The 3 parts together, purification, the body is prepared and the intention is set. Right side, the body is positioned correctly. Supplications, the mind and soul release what they are holding. This is a complete sleep system. Not a folk remedy. Not a cultural preference. A physiologically sound, spiritually grounded practice that has been available to every Muslim since the Prophet taught it. And most of us have been sleeping without it. The dua before sleep that the Prophet taught most consistently. In your name, my Lord, I lie down, and in your name I rise. If you take my soul, then have mercy on it. And if you return it, then protect it with what you protect your righteous servants. If you want the complete collection of supplications before sleep, the morning and evening remembrances and everything about this faith from worship to daily practice, it is all in our complete Muslim's Guide to Islam. There is a full chapter on du'as for every situation in life with Arabic, transliteration, and meaning. The link is in the description below. The woman in this story did not discover a secret. She applied something she had always been given. She put together 3 parts of a practice that had been taught to her community 1400 years ago and that she had never once assembled into a complete system. Tonight, not tomorrow night, tonight, before you get into bed, I want you to try the complete practice. Make your purification. Lie on your right side. Say the words before you close your eyes. Not because it is a guaranteed cure for everything, but because it is what you were taught. And because the one who taught it knew exactly what he was doing when he designed both the human body and the practice that restores it every night. Share this with one person in your life who struggles to sleep. It might be the most practical thing you share with them this year.